Blog Talk Radio.
The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust.
The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat.
Welcome to Truth Talk.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.
With Paul Webster.
First year, global governance with the establishment of the G20 in the middle of the financial crisis.
And Chance George.
President Bush signed a formal agreement that will end the United States as we know it.
On Global F.A.C.T Radio.
Nope, no weapons over there.
People who have been yelling, oh, the UN's going to take over global
conspiracy theories.
They've been crazy, but now they're right.
Maybe under here.
But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in...
A, you haven't followed your own rules in terms of not taking sides. B, you've ignored me for a long period of time.
I'm
C,
sorry.
that breeds resentment. And D, I don't like it. I mean,
all right.
just
I know
plain
that
and
if I
simple.
just talked the whole time, it would just be the Chance George show. So
yeah,
so
you
go
didn't
ahead.
know the names of Sergeant Lagasse and Sergeant Brooks, who were the witnesses you talked about by the Citgo station, which you also misnamed. Please, if you're going to invite me on the show as a subject matter person, please have some respect for me.
All right. Show is yours. Go ahead.
Well, I just did show you some.
No.
I don't know where this is going at this point. See, we've wandered all over the place, and I'd really rather get back onto some things that actually have meat and potatoes to them.
All right.
The problem is, Ainsworth, Evan turned out to be half-truther. So, anyways, go on.
Okay.
We can bring another one of your clips up if you want, and then
you could throw another clip up. That'll be fine with me.
Okay, now I think
just don't put me on hold again for another 10 minutes.
No, you're up. You're going to speak to this clip because it's your clip. You're up next. Let's try some World Trade Center explosions. Clip number 3. All right, this one.
I worked down on B1 in the World Trade Center. What happened? And the whole place just filled up with smoke. I popped our ears and couldn't hear anything down there. Now I was told the 737 jet hit the building all the way up. The planes are still coming out of the Trade Center on the top. Say it again? I was told the 737 jet hit the building, but we're down on the B1 level. We worked down there. The whole place filled up with smoke, and everybody's ears popped. It was like unbelievable. It was like the whole place is clogged up like a thunderstorm full of smoke. I know, we was in the basement.
Hello?
Yeah, floor is yours. It's your comment.
Okay. Basically, that clip was about witnesses who were in the World Trade Center basement, who were witnesses to explosions going on in the basement prior to the building being hit by a plane. Evidence from William Rodriguez was ignored by the 911 Commission. He was the last person to leave the World Trade Center towers. But there were multiple other witnesses who saw and heard explosions in the basement of the building. The Naudet brothers, who filmed the attack on the North Tower when they were filming Firemen, rushed into the building and found that the lobby of One World Trade Center acted as if another bomb had gone off into there. Now, I don't believe for 1 second that jet fuel manages to rush down an elevator shaft and magically find the lobby floor and then explode at such a level that it causes windows to blow out and marble to be damaged. But that's what's seen in actual film footage of things that day. And when you hear witnesses talk about bombs in the basement, you've got to start asking, with all of these people hearing explosions going off, how come NIST never tested for blasts? How come they said there were no evidence of blasts? So while I do reference them from time to time in terms of some of the things they report and do studies on, I also find fault with them for not looking at all of the evidence available that day and some of the most likely evidence that would have been possible to test for. Testing for explosives is normal procedure when things have been blown up, but they decided not to do that. So these are areas of concern that are rather large, and those witnesses that talk about explosions were ignored by the 911 Commission, by NIST, by anybody outside of people in the media the day that it actually happened. Why is that? Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm on mute there, so I was giving you the floor. Now, did you want me to get Evan back up to comment?
Yeah.
All right. Evan's on. You're live again.
Well, anyway, this was a time of mass chaos, okay, and attack just unfolded. Would you disagree that people got things wrong? I mean, even the video you just showed me, the guy said, "Oh, 737." It was not a 737; it was a 767 Boeing. Okay, so there's things that are wrong. The other thing I want to comment on is, if these people were in the basement, okay, they're in the basement and they say they heard explode, how do they know when the plane hit if they're in the basement? They obviously weren't outside looking at it. Maybe what they heard was the plane hitting the building. And as far as, and I know this wasn't included in our clips, but I noticed a lot of truthers point to the grainy YouTube clips of the people saying explosives were going off. I mean, this was, once again, it's time of mass chaos. No one knows what's going on, okay? But secondly, you think a 500,000-ton building, when angle clips are giving in and bolts are snapping and an acre of concrete is slamming into another acre, you don't think that's going to sound like an explosion? I mean, do you even know what an explosion sounds like, Ainsworth? Have you ever heard an explosion?
I've heard explosions up close, in fact.
You were in an explosion up close, and you're here talking to us.
When I was a kid, I used to shoot off things that were called ash cans and cherry bombs and M80s. Those are explosive devices.
That fails in comparison to an acre of concrete.
They're small explosives, but they're still explosives, aren't they?
Okay, I'll give you that. You heard an explosion, cherry bomb, and
yeah. You blow one of those off in your hand, you don't have a hand anymore.
Now, I'll be honest. I don't know what a steel bolt snapping sounds like. I don't know what an acre of concrete slamming into another one sounds like.
Can I answer some of your earlier questions?
Well, hold on. And I'm just saying another comment. You said, "Oh, this magical jet fuel." I mean, it's not magical. I mean, the jet fuel is a liquid, and liquid tends to find level, and it seeps down where it goes. Okay,
so why wouldn't it go to the basement?
Windows shattered. Well, when a jet crashes into a plane at 500 miles an hour, you got to understand there's going to be some ripple effect. It's not just going to be localized to one floor of windows. I mean, it's not. Once again, this isn't. We live in a world of infinite possibilities. There's no mathematical equation for events unfolding. There's no mathematical equation for an explosion happening. And as far as the blast, I mean, NIST never investigated blast. The entire attack was a blast. A plane plowed into a building. I mean, that's a blast. And the other thing that you're wrong about is NIST did test an explosive theory. They tested a controlled demolition theory, and it came back inconclusive. So
where do you have evidence of that? What NIST report talks of testing for controlled demolition?
They tested it.
Where? Which report? I've read them all. Where?
I don't have that in front of me right now. I don't have a script written out for the show.
I'm sorry, sir, but I can't abide by that. That is factually incorrect. Completely wrong.
It's factually correct. They read it. They tested for an explosion, and that's not the case.
When? On which building? Are you talking about the North South Tower or 7 World Trade Center? Which of the reports?
WTC 1 and 2.
They did not test for explosives for WTC 1 and 2.
They tested the controlled demolition theory. It's not viable.
They stopped their theory in terms of the collapse of the tower at initiation of collapse.
You folks imply that a 500 mile per hour jet.
All right. You guys are getting fired up and talking over each other, so we're going to go back to another one of Ainsworth's clips. And because Evan had mentioned that about the sound of explosives, we have a clip that I'm going to play that is firefighters actually saying that they're hearing explosives. So we'll cue that one up. And then we'll get right back onto some comments from you guys, because it's great how you got the back and forth going. I just got to cue up my clip number 4.
Because once the tower fell, you heard boom, 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 boom.
And we heard this boom, boom, boom.
They were planned to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom. All the way down. So it was like boom, 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 like that.
Ainsworth, what do you think of that clip there?
Well, it's a variety of different witnesses all describing the same experience. A couple of the people in that video clip were New York City firemen. Some of the other witnesses were just people who were there. But they all heard the same thing. And to hear series of explosions is not something that is hearing floors falling on each other. Besides, the official theories deny the pancake collapse. The official theories deny the truss failures. The official theories all fail to explain the disappearance of the center core of the building, which was massive, 47 huge steel box columns interconnected on every floor. The most likely explanation would have been explosions, and this was not tested for or not looked for. The official theories go all over the place, talking about melted steel, then no melted steel, then talking about a pile driver, then talking about pancake collapse, but NIST doesn't support the pancake collapse. The experts focus on the floor trusses, then NIST disagrees with them. So the official theory keeps going through all sorts of different machinations, and none of the experts agree on anything other than that collapse was inevitable. Eutectic steel was thought to have come from burning gypsum, but no test of burning gypsum and jet fuel has ever created the eutectic steel that would have been created by the likes of thermite. FEMA had no explanation for the source of the sulfur in Appendix C. So where did that sulfur come from that created the eutectic steel? And why were there so many sounds of explosions? National Geographic said that thermite can't cut steel in a BBC report, yet Popular Mechanics, which also said the same thing, in 1935 did an article on the Skyride Tower, which was felled by 1,500 pounds of thermite. So I have to say that these guys can't get their act together. They keep talking out of different sides of different mouths. They deny the fact that there's sounds of explosions, yet they're clearly heard by any number of people. Why do they deny the sounds of explosions unless they have something to hide? I'm done.
All right, Evan?
Yeah, hold on here 1 second. Let me get a light. It got dark in here and I don't have a light on. Anyway.
All right.
I don't really see the point here. Ainsworth just admitted in his own words that the experts from both sides said the collapse was inevitable. So I don't really understand what the problem here is. I don't really understand what's so hard to understand about why WTC fell. And I might add that I feel like that's another reason I diverted from the truth movement, because I felt like there was too much emphasis on certain things where, I found the political motives the most telling about 9/11. But then I noticed everyone wants to harp on NIST reports, and I really don't see it. If both parties said the collapse was inevitable, I don't see what the question is. The other thing is he talks about the sulfur found and the gypsum. Well, gypsum only has a 2-hour fire rating, okay, and that's what was on the core columns. That was the only fire suppression system they had at the time. It was a spray-on gypsum. I know this because I do construction, and it only had a 2-hour fire rating. And sulfides are produced from decomposed gypsum. So I don't really understand this theory on, there was sulfur found. I don't really see what bearing that has here right now.
May I comment?
Go right ahead, sir.
Well, neither of the fires burned for 2 hours. That's first things first.
They burned for close to 2 hours.
In the World Trade Center towers, the north and the south towers, neither of the fires there burned for 2 hours.
And how long did they burn?
The first building that fell was hit 56 minutes before it fell. The second one burned for an hour and some change. I forget the exact length of time, but I could look that up if you need me to.
Okay, let's be honest. When it comes to fire suppression system, there's no exact science to it. 2 hours is what they say, 2 hours what the manufacturer says. I don't really have to elaborate.
56 minutes is nowhere near 2 hours.
The integrity of the products we have, seriously, is this the... So an hour less than I was supposed to.
And Seven World Trade Center had some fires that burned on and off during the course of the day. The fires were sporadic in nature. And in NIST's description of those fires, at the end, when it says that a column expanded and pushed all of the other columns, which caused a global collapse, according to them. That fires were on 3 floors in one area with a break, with 1 floor not burning in between, and then 3 more floors. Now, this is not a raging inferno. You got fires on 6 non-contiguous floors.
I'm kind of losing you here. Are you still referring to Building 7?
Right now, it's 7.
Well, you say there were sporadic fires and they're on and off. That's not really the case. There were constant fires on floors 7 through 9, 11, 10, all the way through 13.
Not according to the official reports.
And they ignited at approximately 10:30 a.m. and that building collapsed at 5:20. So there's a fire that burned 7 hours? And
the reports on it talk about the fires moving from floor to floor and moving around on the floors. The reports on it, if you read them, do not talk about them burning continuously on any number of floors. And at the end, as I say, there were 3 floors, and then there was 1 floor in between that wasn't burning, and then 3 more floors on fire. That's what NIST had to say,
isn't it? I mean, the fires don't just put themselves out, so I don't.
Well,
really,
actually, they do. They find fuel. They go to the source of where they can find stuff, and when they run out of fuel, yes, they do self-extinguish from time to time.
And you don't think a building with wall-to-wall carpeting and wood office furniture and all kinds of things would have other things to ignite and continue to fire?
Paper, this, that, and the next, office furnishings. NIST claimed that 7 World Trade Center fell from fires from ordinary office furnishings, but in the same report they said that it fell for a period of 2.25 seconds at free fall speed or at the rate of gravitational acceleration.
That's also not true, Ainsworth. The building fell in 13.2 seconds.
Well, I'm talking about. You're not
seconds,
listening very carefully to me. They said for a period. They said for a period of 2.25 seconds.
What, you mean when the weakened floors fell on the other ones? That's not free fall speed. That's 1 floor. That's not the building. You're saying
no.
The building.
On page 43 of the NIST final report, it says that for a period of 2.25 seconds, the building fell at free fall speed or gravitational acceleration.
So that's 2.2 seconds. The entire building fell in 13.
Out of the entire collapse. For a period
even barring that's 11 seconds that it fell in, and for it to be free fall speed,
it fell in 7 or 11
9.8 seconds.
It fell in less than 8 seconds. It fell in
about
about 7.
Pretty much when it comes to physics and chemistry, there's and I'm not an expert. There's no pretty much or it was close to. That's exact. 9.8 seconds at 185 miles per hour is what would have constituted free fall speed. What you're saying
for a
is
period
that's what
of
happened.
For a period of 2.25 seconds, NIST and
All right. You guys are you're jumping over each other, so I'm going to try and clarify maybe what's being said. I believe.
Not catching it.
Hold on, Ainsworth. Hold on. I got the button here. Okay, now. No, I believe what he's saying is that it fell for 2 to 3 seconds at free fall beginning, and then there's the rest of it falling at the rest of it. So it wasn't all in free fall. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know exactly, Chance, but I know I actually looked it up before the show. It was 13.2 seconds for the entire building to fall into its own footprint. So
is that the towers or Building 7?
Building 7, 13.2 seconds.
That's the towers. Building 7 fell in 6.6 seconds. The towers fell in 13.
No, that's not what I have. I have 13.2 seconds. And I've never heard of 14 seconds for any of them. The towers, I thought, fell at 11 seconds.
Okay.
Well, how could the towers fall faster than 7 World Trade Center? The towers were 110 stories. The World Trade Center was 47
it has to do with
stories.
the inertia. You have a 110-story building.
Google it.
And I'm sorry, I don't have the exact numbers here. Let's see.
I got an idea.
175, Flight 75 struck Building 2 around the 78th to 84th floor. So you have a total of 10 or more floors above that are going to fall down. There's more inertia. It's not.
How long Building 7? Okay. While you guys are talking about this, we're actually going to Google how long it took for Building 7 to fall. Okay, so
Google will give us the right answer.
Because that's a big
Google.
Yeah. Well,
no, I'm looking it up on NIST Car 1A.
Yeah, how about we all of us look it up and let's see if there's any disputes.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. I got someone sitting in front of a computer right now. They're going to type it in, and we're going to see. I believe one of you saying it's 13 seconds, and the other one saying it's 6 seconds. So we're going to find out right now.
Actually, there's a good. I think actually, yeah. I am talking about Building 7, Chance, because I had. I think there was a YouTube video that it took Rosie O'Donnell. It took Rosie O'Donnell's claim that she said it fell in free fall, and then I'm not sure. I mean, I really didn't. write a whole script here. I thought it was going to be kind of candid. I really didn't expect to have all this stuff in front of me. I was more interested in some of the, we're talking about the building now and all these. I was more talking about the actual motives and things like that. So
okay, we can get to that. We've only got 20 minutes left, though. It went by pretty quick, the 2 hours, I'm telling you.
Oh, wow.
Now, while Paul's looking that up.
No, see, the thing is, all of the sites are different answers. I got
that's the other thing, Chance, I wanted to say is that there's so many conflicting viewpoints. It's really hard to get a right answer. And Ainsworth, if you truly read the NIST reports, I give you a lot of credit because I couldn't make out any of that. I mean, it's all information that's foreign to me. The numbers and figures, the way they describe things, I can't really keep track. And when you try